Hello friends, how often you hear people saying that their health insurance is not good, companies do not give claims. They say that this is not covered, that is not covered. Well friends, that is where I am here to help you. About health insurance, I will share tips with you anytime and every time when you are buying an health insurance. Please go through these things and you will always have the best insurance available with you. First thing, how much insurance do you really need? To understand this, do small homework and just look around wherever you are in that city. And God forbid, if there is hospitalization, which is the hospital you are going to take your services from? Try to find out how much expenses per day are there for that particular hospital and ensure that whenever you are buying insurance, the best hospital in your city or the hospital which is your preferred hospital, take at least 10 to 15 days worth of expenses as your sum insured. Supposing per day expenses is 30,000 rupees, take an insurance of at least 3 to 5 lakh rupees. Similarly, what is your income? Because your income will also decide what type of treatment, what type of doctors, etc. you are going to consult with. Try to take insurance something around 10 to 15 times of your monthly income. If you are earning 30,000 rupees, make sure that you have an insurance of about 5 lakh rupees. Third thing is that look around the hospitals are providing cashless facilities. Focus on those hospitals because at that time of treatment, you should not worry about arranging money. You should actually go and take the treatment. So look at that also, what type of expenses are going to happen in those hospitals. Look at one more thing, that is if you already have some disease or pre-existing ailment, look at which policy is giving you shortest waiting period, and if you need maternity, which policy is covering maternity, not just covering maternity, sufficient maternity. If policy says that I'll cover 10,000 rupees of maternity, probably you are buying nothing. You will end up frustrated at the time of claim. That is number one, how much insurance, what insurance you want. Second thing, you look at what is covered in your insurance. 5 important points you should look at. One is inpatient or hospitalization expenses cover. What all things are covered, because that is going to be the biggest expense in case of hospitalization. And look at that, how much is covered, what type of expenses they are covering. And in that second part you look at, that is room rent. There are companies which are putting condition on room rent. Those conditions are per day limits. Sometimes it is 1% of sum insured or sometimes it is fixed amount. Just check those limits because those limits will end up taking money out of your pocket if it is smaller one. For example, if you have a 3 lakh rupees of policy and limit is 1%, so that means you can take a room up to 3,000 rupees. Anything above 3,000 rupees, if you spend on hospital room, company will deduct expenses in the same proportion on entire bill. That is where you will end up paying more out of your pocket. Second thing in this, you have to look at pre and post hospitalization expenses. Try to see how many days pre and post hospitalization coverages are there. Generally 30, 60 or 60, 90 days are there. Longer is the cover, better it is. There also try to understand it is number of days without any restrictions or there is number of days with restriction to some amount, some percentage of claim amount. Check that also. Third thing in coverages you need to check is your sublimits or co-payment. Sometimes what happens in policies, there are sublimits. Some type of expenses are covered up to some limit. For example, cataract is covered for, let's say, 10,000 rupees. In such situation, you will end up paying a lot of money from your pocket. Check those sublimits. Similarly, check the co-payment also. There are certain policies which say that if you go to non-network hospital, 10% or 20% is to be paid by you. That is co-payment. Similarly, for certain type of treatments, certain type of ailments, there are co-payment limits. Just try to understand those co-payment limits and make sure that you buy right policy. Then fourth point which you have to look at coverages is your waiting periods. What are the waiting periods? Especially for different type of diseases, different type of ailments, for example pre-existing diseases. Some companies cover it after 4 years, some 3 years, and there are few products which might cover it after 2 years also. In senior citizens, there are few products which will cover even after 1 year also. So just look at that. And similarly, there is a limit or a waiting period on specific diseases such as cataract, hernia, sinusitis, etc. Look at those waiting periods also. Shorter is the waiting period, better it is. Number 3 which you have to look at is sum insured enhancement or additional sum insured. In this case, what happens whenever you don't take a claim, there is something called cumulative bonus that adds up into your sum insured. Generally, this is 5 or 10% every claim free years and goes up to 50 or 100%. But there are policies which are giving 50% for each claim free year and up to 100 or 150% of your sum insured. So that makes your sum insured very attractive if you are not taking claim. For example, if you have taken a 5 lakh rupees policy and policy gives you 50% of no claim bonus, in such situation you get 2.5 lakh rupees of bonus very next year. That makes your sum insured 7.5 lakh rupees. Second thing why which your sum insured can increase is restoration benefit, recharge benefit or reinstatement benefit. Different companies call it different. Practically what they do, whenever there is a claim, they put the equal amount back in your policy. What terms and condition they are adding this money to your policy? If, for example, they are adding this money once your sum insured is completely exhausted, or they are adding this money as much as you use. For example, one policy might say that you have a 5 lakh rupees of sum insured. If you consume entire sum insured, after that they will restore the sum insured. Or there may be another policy which says that if you have a 5 lakh rupees policy, you have made a claim of 2 lakh rupees, I will add it back 2 lakh rupees. That means your policy is back to 5 lakh rupees. Similarly, fourth important point which you have to look at is additional benefits. Although these are not your priority to buy health insurance, however, when you are buying health insurance, these can also be considered. For example, hospital cash daily allowance, free medical checkup in a year, right? Or what is the duration, after how many years they give you free medical checkup. All these things you have to look at when you are buying the policy. When you look at these terms and conditions in detail, you will find that at the time of claim, you will not be frustrated. So look at how much sum insured you want. That should be purely decided based on the hospital types you are going to use. Coverages where you look at IPD, sublimits and hospitalization expenses, pre-post hospitalization, number of days and sublimits there also, co-payment, all these things you look at, cumulative bonus or NCB or restoration benefit, etc. You must actually study completely before taking a decision in favor of any product. Next time when you buy health insurance, just refer to these 4 important points. You will never have a wrong decision. Thank you for watching. If you have not subscribed the channel yet, please subscribe the channel. I will come up with specific product analysis also, where I will highlight what are the coverages, what are you going to get out of those products. Till that time, enjoy yourself, stay blessed, be happy.